This is ESPN Radio, 1037 and 1450. Zach Seyko here, and we welcome back to the show Bald Eagle area head coach Jesse Nagle. Jesse, thanks so much for your time again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
And congrats on the win. A good way to just start a string of wins, a win streak, as you and the team defeated Bellefonte 48-0. It was a curtain bowl that you would have liked to maybe see a little more back and forth, but it's a win that the Eagles needed. How did it come about? And start with practice. What was the going through the workouts and scheming and everything? How did they 0-2?
Well, I think, it was a position that no one thought we were going to be in, including, our own. So I think we had to look at how we looked at practice, how we, designed practice plans and how we went about things. And, we kind of went from square one again. We really, really focused on the little things, the fundamentals, finishing plays, finishing blocks, finishing catches, everything like that. So, we definitely went back to, almost like it was preseason and say, guys, we're 0-0 or 0-0, and let's get after it. Let's go 1-0 this week.
The kids specifically, any of the senior leaders or the veterans on the team, what were they saying? What was their mindset? Because it obviously worked, again, based on what the scoreboard showed.
Yeah, I think we all kind of, got in. I think there wasn't one specific player. I think that, numerous players got on and said, guys, listen, let's go. We're not losing again. This is the mindset is we win 8 straight. So, every week's a playoff week. We're over and over again said it last week, and we're going to say it again this week. So, it's something that I think, pretty much, 10 to 15 players bought into that. And now everybody else is buying into it.
BEA football head coach Jesse Nagle is joining us here on the line on PA Prep Sports Breakdown on State College's ESPN Radio with myself, Zach Seyko. Coach, the passing game looked a lot better against Bellefonte. In the weeks prior, multiple interceptions. There were some problems with the offensive line and maybe some snaps as well. But that was all fixed. What improvements were made so that the passing game looked a little cleaner against the Red Raiders?
Well, I think, we took what they're giving us. I think the first couple of weeks we tried to force some things, in different coverages. And, realistically, just being honest, sometimes matchups, Troy had an outstanding back end. Clearfield did some different coverages, but had a real nice back end. And not that Bellefonte didn't have a nice back end. They tried to mimic some of the things that the other teams did. And, if you can't match up athlete for athlete, that's a tough thing to do for us. So against us. So I think that was a big thing. And plus, we didn't have bad snaps because, in the spread offense, timing is a critical thing. If you're a half second off here and there, the route is now a half second late. We didn't have that. Plus, we didn't have the decisions and also the draw passes. So, all those stuff, and we just made sure we continue to do that until they could stop it.
Sophomore quarterback Carson Nagle was 19 for 23, 357 yards, 4 touchdowns, did have the 1 interception, but I don't think it all mattered in the scheme of things. And then basically everyone caught a pass on Friday. Burns had 7 receptions for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cam Watkins, 3 for 52 and a touchdown. So it was good to see that the very talented offenses from Clearfield and Troy, between the two teams, 27 points. So that's an average of 13 in those 2 games against tough opponents. So whatever they've been doing since the preseason, it has worked very well for them. And why has it worked so well?
Yeah, we've given up, what would that be, 12 points in 3 games. So I'm very, very happy with the defense. There's no question. I think they bought in to do their job and do it right and not try to do too much. And, you see, I'm the one that breaks down the stats and everything and does all the tackles. And, you see it, multiple playmakers on the defense side of the ball, but they're doing their job, their system or that type of formation. So, that's, I think personally as a coach, what I'm most proud of right now with the guys that they bought into, hey, if I got a control A gap, that's what I'm going to do. If I get double team, I'm going to own that double team. I'm going to let other guys run free. So, those type of things, I think that defensively we're doing really well right now. Now, again, can we get better? Absolutely, and we're going to continue to try to get better there.
And that was going to be my follow-up question before we get to the game against Penns Valley this week. And then to look ahead, I know you don't want to look past the Rams, but just kind of how the schedule's laid out for Bald Eagle and where you feel your strengths are. But how do you continue to get that top-notch performance out of the defense for 10 weeks in the regular season and then ultimately playoffs?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is what you just said is, continuing to get that top notch. We got to continue to work our tails off at practice, continue to be film junkies, just continue to do everything what it takes to put us in the right positions and understand the other team's offense and what they're trying to do. And, we always, and I think it's, again, no hidden secret, we try to take away the other team's number one, number two guy. So being able to do those type of things week in, week out will get us better and, hopefully continue us, in the playoffs and after.
This is State College's ESPN Radio PA Prep Sports Breakdown, our high school sports show. Bald Eagle area football head coach Jesse Nagle is on the line with us. Okay, now Bald Eagle has to focus the attention on the Penns Valley Rams, who are undefeated, a very good team that has shown some success. They beat common opponents, and now you get to face them. What is it like to go up head-to-head in terms of the coaching battle with Marty Tobias, who's had an exceptional career in high school football?
Marty does a fantastic job. I have preached to the kids since Friday, actually, after a win, that, this is going to be one of the best coach teams that we're going to face all year long. He does a great job with adjustments. They always put a wrinkle in offensively for us every single year. Defensively, they do a great job, defensively trying to, mix up, to prevent the big plays. So, yeah, against Marty, you're going to have to definitely strap it on and make sure that, you're putting that headset to work because, he's going to make adjustments throughout the game, and you have to, too, if you want to keep up with him.
Penns Valley typically just has a smaller roster due to numbers and the size of the school district, but Coach Tobias is always able to get the best out of the players he does have on his varsity roster. How does he do it every single year?
Well, I think he has, kind of the very similar kids that we have here, just tough kids, tough kids that are willing to work and willing to grind. And, I think that he does a great job with looking at what his strengths are, and he really puts in the system, or he tweaks his system, I should say, to go along with his strengths both offensively and defensively.
Penns Valley is a talented roster. You know that. Your team knows that. On a guy like Ty Watson and then Jackson Romig, the starting quarterback, is going to be tough. Who are you looking to eliminate, take away that star player out of the offense for the Rams?
Well, I think you look at their games. The line does a nice job. We got to be really disciplined in the pulling game. Just be fundamentally sound and downs and things. So that's a critical. But the guys that get all the attention would be the quarterback, the running back, and Brooks at receiver. So we're focused in on limiting those guys. I don't know if we're going to stop them, but limiting those three guys. But it all starts up front. If we can control their offensive line a little bit with all their pulling game they have, then I think we'll be okay. But if they're able to get onto our linebackers with their guards and stuff, then Ty Watson only needs a little bit of room. He has a great jump cut and he loves to get vertical. So we got to make sure we take that out of his game.
Bald Eagle area football head coach Jesse Nagle's on the line with us. Coach, how is the attack going to look for Bald Eagle going against Penns Valley? We've talked about limiting the Rams, but now how do you want to approach getting the points against them?
So that we're going to go exactly like we did Bell Point, in that mindset of we're going to continue to do what it works until they stop it. So, if you watch, the game, of course you were there, we ran a lot of screens until they started jumping up and we went over top on them. So, we're going to continue that mindset in the offense, the passing game, then defense or on the running game. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to continue to, pound the rock until they can stop it. So, if they stop both, then we're in trouble. But, it's one of those things that I think, we as a staff have kind of understood last week. Hey, if there's not stopping it, keep on going, keep doing it. So, we're gonna look to do the same things, same philosophy on offense that we did, last week.
And then after Penns Valley, I mean, it's a fairly balanced schedule and a tough one at that. A non-conference game against Montoursville on the road, and they're playing some inspired football for their head coach Mike Boughton, who's had to step away for medical reasons. But they've really played inspirational football at that. Tyrone, of course, Tyrone's undefeated at this point of the conversation. P.O. Huntington, Wellsboro to wrap up the season before you get into districts. What is going to be the biggest challenge out of all of those games to get your team prepared for the postseason?
Oh boy, I mean, you just said, a lot of good football, teams. So, it's one of those things that, we look at week to week right now. You can't look past Penns Valley, of course, but, if you look at the other teams on the schedule, I feel and other coaches feel that that's only going to get us ready for the postseason. I know the Laurel Highlands have some really nice teams, and they're competing against each other at week in, week out, getting better too. So, we got to raise that bar, and we had to look at some out of conference games like a Montoursville. Montoursville is historically just a powerhouse. So, we decided to put them on the schedule for that reason. And, there's Tyrone, there's Huntington. I mean, there's all of them, So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenge throughout. But, again, I think that's the best way to get our kids ready for the postseason.
Jesse Nagle, Bald Eagle area football head coach, joining us here on PA Prep Sports Breakdown, our high school sports show. Coach, thanks so much for your time. We're always happy to chat, and best of luck on Friday.
Yeah, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it.